Good afternoon, Commissioners. If we'll come to order, we'll begin the regular monthly meeting of the Anderson County Commission Budget Committee for Thursday, June 8, 2023, 4 o'clock p.m. Robbie, if you would, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Vandergrift? Here. Commissioner Wells? Here. Commissioner Wandell? He's absent. Commissioner Foster? Here. Commissioner Smallridge? Here. Commissioner Beauchamp? Here. Commissioner White? Here. And Chairman Val.
Here. Let the record reflect, we do have a quorum. If y'all will join me in prayer, and then we will ask Commissioner Foster if he would to lead us in the pledge. Heavenly Father, we come to you today giving you honor and praise and thanking you, Lord, for being so good to us. Thanking you, Lord, for saving us. Thanking you, Lord, for allowing us to be able to serve your people. Please forgive us of our sins, times, Father, that we don't take that responsibility as importantly as we should. Ever remind us, God, the importance that you have bestowed on us and able to do that. As we go forth into this meeting, give us wisdom, give us discernment, Father, to do what you would find right in your eyes. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Also, just as a side note, we are experiencing technical difficulties with Channel 95 currently. It is not going out live, but it is being recorded, and Channel 95 will ensure that the meeting gets played when they're able to sometime this evening.
Yeah, after I get back to the office, we'll air it this evening. I'll update it on Facebook as I can get it out there with time to air.
Thank you, Andy. It's all right. Thank you, Andy. All right, next item on the agenda is our cash and fund balance report. Director Holbrook.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Cash and fund balance ending May 31st, 2023. Restricted funds for the general fund, $1,091,420. Committed funds are $1.6 million. Assigned funds are $3.6 million. Unassigned fund balance, $9,211,666 for a total fund balance of $15,576,226. Cash for at end of May was $20,054,565, which was up $2.1 million from last year at this time. Other funds like Fund 141, the school fund, total fund balance $8.6 million, cash $18,845,142. Any questions on the cash and fund balance report?
Hearing none, moving on.
Okay, sales tax. We were up 6% for the month of April. Usually the state revenues are 2 months behind. We'll still collect May and June and July and August. But 6% in increase for the month of April compared to last April. For the Anderson County portion, we were up 5% from last April, which that's good numbers for the county.
Any questions on the sales tax report? Hearing none, moving on.
Okay, for the ARPA projects report, at the end of May, revenue loss $3,328,953.83 available still to spend. Other eligibilities, which have stronger restrictions, $2,117,278 for a total of $5,446,234. We did take, of note, on 3.1, we took the $250,000 out for the Highland. We left $25,000 in there because we still haven't. They're clearing that land or working on that, and that project is almost completed, and we'll probably still have just a little bit more to go back into revenue loss. But we did take $225,000 out, and that's the only. We did add the sheriff budget item that we approved last month to the bottom, number 25. So that was the only changes from last month, and probably we have spent some more money.
Any questions on the ARP projects?
Do what? That's finished now. So the Highland is completed.
Okay.
We'll add the rest of that back in for next month.
Any questions on the ARPA projects? Hearing none, moving on.
Okay, transfers not requiring full commission approval. There are It's actually 0 through 29, because we added one at the end. I did, so, for county commission, but I can take those as a group. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Motion to approve as a group.
Second.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items 0 through 29 as a group, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Commissioner Wells, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. Welcome to the Budget Committee. Unfortunately, when we get on a roll, we kind of keep going on a roll. Yeah. But hopefully you've had time to look over the packet over the last few days. Any questions that you may have, certainly if they can be addressed to the finance director. He loves getting phone calls and emails from us long before the meeting starts. But if not, obviously any questions that need to be addressed for the full committee, we always welcome those. We like to do the heavy lifting here at committee level, so hopefully when a decision gets to commission, most of the heavy lifting has been done. But welcome aboard. It's good to have you. Thank you. Go ahead, Robbie. I'm sorry.
Okay. 30 through 35 are from the school department. It's 3 transfers by payroll and major line item and 2 appropriations from the schools to finish out their budget amendments for June.
Motion to approve as a group.
Motion made by Commissioner Bochamp to approve items number 30 through 35, seconded by Dr. Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 36 and 37 are from our highway department, 1,800 increasing restricted for highways from other revenue, and then 100,000 to asphalt from restricted for highways.
Move to approve. Second.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve items 36 and 37
Yes.
as a group,
As a group.
seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
And number 38 is from EMA. It's adding grant revenue, $28,709.13 to a other supplies and materials EMPG grant code, the same amount.
Motion approved. Second.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 38, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 39 is from Motor Pool. It's increasing revenue, $54,790.93, and increasing garage supplies, $2,817.93, tires and tubes, $15,819, vehicle parts, $34,154, and other contracted services, $2,000. And I will explain a little more about this. This was something recommended to us by audit. We've been putting the money, when Motor Pool does work for another department, we have been putting it back in the code. They wanted us to put it in revenue this year. Sometimes when we get a new audit, it changes. So we are making this change, this budget amendment reflects that change. So we just moved it from the code to a revenue code and then back, it's just kind of circling back.
And that's what you meant by this is to balance our line items back out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 39, seconded by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 40 is from the Tourism Department, increasing contributions $6,000 and trustees commission $600, and increasing revenue, hotel motel tax $6,600.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Foster to approve item number 40, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
Hand vote, please. All in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commissioner White? We had to do a hand vote. See? Motion passes.
No for me.
We
Yeah,
got-
that's your no.
I recorded that now. Okay, 41 and 42 are from the mayor's office. 40 is increasing travel from unassigned fund balance, $550. The mayor's office will be reimbursed back for this travel from the ECA conference, but sometimes it takes a couple of months to get those reimbursements back, and money needs to be in the travel code for a trip for TASSER travel in June. And also $6,995 from unassigned for other contracted services from general administration. This is for a judge ordered a mental health evaluation and treatment for a defendant, and then whenever that happens, the county has to pay the bill. So this is what that is for.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner White to approve items number 41 and 42, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Any discussion?
Chairman,
Commissioner Foster.
on the reimbursement from the grant, does that just roll back to the fund balance?
It will when the revenue code, yeah. And
Whatever code it
if,
comes out,
yes,
right? Okay.
yes,
Any further discussion?
Does this happen pretty often?
for the mental health, the second one.
Yes, sir.
Not really, no. I mean, this is the.
Once a year, twice a year?
They come to the mayor's office, so typically.
I can get you a report on that. So, some years, not that much, and then sometimes we'll see kind of a flurry of them. And, typically, they're just for an evaluation, and we do have funds set aside for that. But in that particular case, I think it was, I didn't bring that sheet up. I think it was 29 days of treatment, and that is, we don't always see that. So that was why it kind of busted through what we normally have set aside. You're welcome.
Is there a statute or reason it comes back to your
Well,
office? Is that based on statute? Why does it come back to the mayor's office when it's set from the court?
I guess it's probably just an internal control matter is all I know. It's just always,
This is out.
I could look into that. I do know that we have a contract. So for instance, for mental health evaluations, we get a contract from the state where you agree to a price that's to protect, the county. If you enter into a contract for that amount, you're assured that you're going to be billed that amount. So I do know I have to do that on an annual basis.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
And the sheriff's department makes this first and two chapters?
They could better answer that. I do know the sheriff's department has a contract for mental health transport, so I would assume that would be one that is eligible if it's to Moccasin Bend.
If it was an inmate, then yes, the sheriff's department would transport them. But if it's just an individual that's not in custody at the hospital, we have a contract with another private ambulance company that does those.
Okay, good, thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 43 through 49 are from the finance department. They're not all from the finance department, but I did all these. I want to take 49 separately because I made a change in it. So 43 for 48, seeking approval. Most of these are just cleanup work in different departments. The conservation one is an insurance recovery where I think the last storm did damage to the roof, and they still need a little bit more money to fix that. And I took it out of the sports gaming because that's earmarked for parks right now. And 45, the projects, the bigger one is projects that have already been approved by commission, actually 2 years ago, and then again this year. And I'm just going to assign the funds so that the projects haven't started yet. In July, I'll do another budget amendment to unassign them back to the code. So I think both of these are getting close to getting started. The victims assistance programs, $4,000. It's just money into a revenue code, then out the expenditure code. But we've collected more revenue this year than we budgeted for, so I need that to increase. And then a 263. I'm just going to tell you about all of them. But 263 fund. The flex spending, that is something employees sign up for, medical reimbursement plan. We have to kind of guess those numbers at the beginning of the year. We guessed a little low, so we're increasing that. And it's just a washout. And then 48 is payroll, major line items. It's health benefits and other deductions in the county where a department doesn't have enough money in their budget to cover it, so I'm using somebody else's health insurance funds that had a surplus to move back over. Typically is what that is.
Motion to approve 43 through 48.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items number 43 through 48, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, on number 49, it was from the library, but Briceville, I did this budget amendment, but then they were a little bit late turning their budget amendments in this month because of, I think they had miscommunication, but I had done what they wanted, but just increasing codes that needed more money in them, with utilities codes and communications. But I also did the librarian code 129 because of the accrual. I needed just a little bit more money in for that, but she also needed $200 in library books at Briceville, and so I increased that budget amendment $200. And I wanted to let you all know that.
Second.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve item number 49, seconded by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 50 is from EMS. It's a transfer by payroll, so all this money is in his budget already. Decreasing codes, Social Security, state retirement, medical insurance, short-term disability, and workers' comp, $212,940, and increasing codes, the supervisor director code, $290, accounts and bookkeepers, $2,700, medical personnel, $125,000, overtime, $63, part-time help, $20, dental insurance, $700, and unemployment compensation, $450, and employer Medicare, $800. And a lot of this was due to the accruals. There's 27 payrolls in overtime and part-time due to when the fiscal year in 22 ended. And I'm just reading the explanation at the bottom. Had some of the last pay from federal year in 22 and medical personnel that was added to this fiscal year. Increased costs in payroll due to staffing needs for ambulances, balancing dental and other accounts to end year. Workers' comp was covered by we covered workers' comp by ARP money this year, so that's why that was available in that code.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve item number 50. Commissioner White seconds the motion. Any discussion? Commissioner White?
Robbie, when you decrease state retirement 15,000, who does that affect?
It doesn't really affect anybody. We put, like, let's say we put 75,000 in that code. When we hire an employee, a new hire, we don't start state retirement till they've been here 6 months. So there's a gap in that, and whenever there's any turnover and sometimes in EMS we do have some turnover in employees, it just creates even more of a surplus in that code because they have to wait 6 months. Same for short term. Any new employee has to wait 6 months before we start short term disability too.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got a question.
Commissioner Foster?
So the 42,000 of the 125,000 was from last year's accrual, is that what you were saying?
That's what Nathan's saying, yes.
Okay. And so the rest of it's additional funding that we need for medical personnel? Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 51 is from Jeff DeBalka in solid waste. It is decreasing several codes in solid waste, 50,925 to increase landfill operation and maintenance contracts with private agencies, 50,925. And the transfers needed to cover end of year costs. At this juncture, the end of the year tonnage will be over last year's tonnage estimates by 1,500 to 1,800 tons. At the current rate of 26.33 per ton, the budget amount will be 40,000 or more or less than needed for disposal.
Second.
Commissioner White moves to approve item number 51, seconded by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and 52 through 60 are all from the Sheriff's Department. The very last one is just a grant seeking approval for 37,361 as a group or individually, or I can answer any questions. And I know that Mr. Galloway is here also, could answer any questions, or Mr. Allen.
52 for what?
52 through 60.
60.
Motion to approve as a group.
And it's just mainly cleanup work in their budgets.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items number 52 through 60, seconded by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay. Section A is just a grant application approval. We have three, one from Norris Community Library for $2,840, and two from the Highway Department, one $30,000 and the other $300,000. Just need approval to, it's a pre-application notification form, just approval to apply for the grants.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve Section A, seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, the local match, have we budgeted that, or where is that?
That, well, like for Norris, the $1,420, which is a 50/50, it would come from there. Each of the libraries have a restricted fund, and it would just come from that if they are approved for the grant. And the same for the Highway Department. Their match, which one's $6,000 and the other's $60,000, would just come from their fund balance.
Any further discussion? Robbie, I'm reading over this, and I'm sure that it's on there, and I thought I saw it, but I'm not going to guess. What is the grant going to purchase?
For which one?
The Norris one?
Well, it's it's a technology grant to replace purchased technology for use by staff or the public. Grant funds are available for the following: computers, software, networking, hardware, or peripherals. It's under like the purpose of the grant, which is,
Grant requirements. Okay. Thank you.
and the highway is to develop a safety action plan for the $30,000 grant for roads. And the other is it's the same, it's safety action plan for the roads. The action plan can then be used to apply for the other portion of the same grant to request implementation
Okay.
money to act on the issues identified on the action plan.
Commissioner Bochamp, was your motion to approve as a group?
You want to do all these?
We're just three.
Yeah.
Commissioner White, was that your second for all of them? Yes, sir. All right, I'd like to make a motion to amend the motion to separate them and vote over them individually. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Smallridge. All in favor on separating them, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Because I'm going to vote no on the first one. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
All right, hand vote. All in favor of separating them, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes. So now, taking them each individually, or does anyone want to make a motion that we approve the one for the Norris Community Library?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner White, seconded by Commissioner Wells to approve the grant process for Norris Community Library. Any discussion? I'll be voting no on it. I know that the library board is currently in cooperation to renew their policies, to kind of get a better idea of what they're going to allow in certain sections of the library, but until that decision is made, I still don't feel comfortable supporting that. So I'll be a no vote. Any further discussion?
Well, Claire, Mr. Howard, this is just for technology, this is not for books.
That's what,
Library, correct?
yes.
Okay, so that, okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. No. And motion carries.
Okay, just really quick, Shane, our grant coordinator, Mr. Prince, informed me that the highway department's second one, the 300,000, does not need to be included today. They had intended to pull that, so it's
Oh.
just the $30,000 grant for the highway
Okay.
department.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Foster to approve the grant process for the highway department for the 24 plus the 6, right? For a
Yes.
total of 30. Seconded by Commissioner Bochamp.
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that confusion.
It's all
So,
right.
next up is the 23-24 proposed budgets. Just really quick, if I could read a little opening statement. So today, we have 5 primary goals today. The Budget Committee asked me to bring back a budget that includes a 5% employee raises for all employees except the Sheriff's Office. And I did that, and I've given you all copies of that. We need to address the EMS budget deficit, number 2. Number 3, related to the EMS budget, we have a motion referred to this committee by Commissioner Wandell to earmark $850,000.
Sorry, did we do the budget amendment on the grant for the general sessions?
That's the, under old business.
Sorry, I just saw it the way it fell, it threw me off.
No, it's under old business.
Thanks.
So,
Keep going.
related to EMS budget, we have a motion referred to from the commission by Commissioner Wandell to earmark $850,000 of ARP funds for placing an EMS station in Claxton. In speaking to the mayor and Chairman Val before the meeting, we have a possible way to address all 3. By transferring ARP funds in the amount of $650,000, we can correct the EMS deficit, and that gives them a 5% raise. We can fund option 2 of their plan, which I know some of y'all have been interested in, which provides more personnel, which will also allow more responsive service to the Claxton area and likely increase revenue in convalescent transports and provide a balanced budget in funding the 5% raises except for the Sheriff's Department. This also allows us to keep the Sheriff's budget the priority this year and commit to focusing on EMS and other departments the next year as a budget priority. Number 4 and 5, we have Fund 263 and Fund 128 that we have not approved as budget yet. So those are the 5 budget goals we have for today. And we would be complete if we couldn't get all that done, so.
Which would
So
be
the
a
first
nice
thing
goal.
I have on the next page, on the very first page, is this proposed 2024 state aid highway system program funding. The state provided funding for all counties for the highway department, and Anderson County received an additional $3,242,127 in funds with a local match of $66,166, which total distribution with local match is $3,308,293. I need a motion to go ahead and put this in the budget for July 1st because they audit and the state says it should go in the budget for next year.
Motion
But, yeah. To add the
Motion.
$3 million.
to add the 3.3, is
Mhm.
that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
08-293 to the budget.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bochamp, second by Commissioner Wells. Everybody know what we're voting on?
I'd like you to summarize that.
So the state proposed 2024 state aid highway system program funding, highway trust fund plus general fund subsidy dollars totaling $321,082,000 by the state. The Anderson County's portion of that is $3,242,127. They're giving us that $3 million. The state is, and we have to match $66,166 for a total of $3.3 million, $3,308,293. I just need that approved to go ahead and put in their budget for next year.
Thank you.
So, yeah. This kind of came later in the budget season, and I didn't really know that we needed to put it in the budget until this month, so. that's why I'm asking kind of late.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, the next two pages I have in section B are both grants. One is a DVCC, which is a domestic violence court grant, court and EVP evidence-based program grant. The domestic violence is for $67,000. It's mostly payroll codes with a $2,000 for training. And it's going to be in the general sessions judges will be over this grant. And the evidence-based grant is also mostly payroll, except $16,840 in other supplies and materials and $9,500 in staff development. But in order for them to start July 1st, this needs to go ahead and be approved to be put in the budget. And it's just a washout revenue for expenditures. So it doesn't really mean a whole lot for the budget, except that they can get started, you know, working July 1st as far as that goes. And both of these, there's no match. Maybe an in-kind on, I think there is an in-kind on one, but there's no money.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve section B. Is that how you want to work that?
Well, it's, yeah.
We got multiples on here.
Yeah, we do. We have everything section B, just the two grants in section B.
Two grants
both.
in section B. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Vandergrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay. So I handed out this piece of paper to y'all tonight. It's the very, it's got some yellow on it, and it's fund balances. All of these are the funds for the county that we have budgets for that have been approved, and some that have not, the tourism and the 263 fund that have not been approved. But if you look in the next two columns, I've added a 5% increase. The reason I gave you out a new handout is because we've found $50,000 more of additional revenue in the general fund budget, which with a 5% compensation increase, our budget deficit right now is $24,573 for, that's including every change made so far, and would add a 5% increase. But it shows you what each department or each fund, like libraries, would be $5,141 deficit budget, which if you have a healthy fund balance, a deficit budget is not a huge deal, especially most of these departments or funds have rollover. The county general fund normal rollover is $2 to $3 million. So I don't think, it doesn't concern me. The only one that concerns me is EMS, obviously, and that's really the only fund that does concern me with as far as the rollover. But anyway, that's what's next up as far as I have an order as far as compensation increases. You all asked me to bring a 5% back, and that's what it looks like as far as budget for each fund.
So Robbie, do we need to go ahead and vote on the tourism budget and then the benefit budget?
You can. The benefit budget, 263. One thing we did this year, we do have one estimated unrestricted fund balance of $2 million, which is getting up there for 263. We've done a really good job, and I think the Board of Trustees, with some decisions we've made, and this year I asked the Board of Trustees to cut 5% from the county matching, meaning what the county funds for each employee. We cut 5 out of it, and so our budget does have a deficit of $250,904, but it was intended to kind of eat at some of that fund balance. Of course, you like to have a little bit of fund balance there because we could have a bad year. You never know if you're going to have a few unhealthy people can cause claims to go, it can make a difference. So it's nice to have that fund balance, and we do have a fund balance policy that is at $1 million right now. So that's what the recommended fund balance policy is. But we are working on, we did make some other changes in the insurance this year that should help reduce that fund balance. But that budget does need to be approved, and this year we do have a deficit on purpose. So I could get approval for that budget. That would be great.
Motion to approve 128 and 263.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve 128 and 263.
Not all he was asking for was 263.
Can we do them separate? Because I have some things.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
if you don't care, just because Stephanie,
Started the conversation, he's talking about
Yeah.
those, so that's-
Stephanie made some
Yeah.
changes in 263, and I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I'd prefer to take them separate.
Okay with that change, I'm not motion.
So just for 263. Commissioner Foster moves to approve the 263 budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got one question. I just
Commissioner
want to make sure
Boateng.
that this is just for the 5% for all county employees.
This is not, this is the 263
This is just the
budget.
benefits.
It doesn't
Oh,
even, they have no
benefits
county
package.
employees in it, so the 5% doesn't even come into play.
We're gonna bring that up, right? Okay.
We went ahead and jumped there, shame on.
Yeah.
Trying to get the easy one.
Yeah, we'll get the low-hanging fruit first. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. So that takes care of 263, and that leaves 128 tourism.
Okay, in your budget packet, I did include a 128 budget line by line item, and just to point out, we reduced, Stephanie emailed me this week making some changes, asked me if it, and I agreed since we haven't approved our budget, but Code 207, object code, it's medical insurance, we reduced that to 0, and increase code 330, which is lease payments, 15,600, and there was also an increase in other contracted services, I think $12,000.
There was already some funds in there.
Yeah, 5,000. We reduced it. We increased it 7 more. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I couldn't read my own writing. Sorry. Which brings their total. The total budget is $670,320. I don't think I have the right figure on that because it changed after. On that, yeah, the page with the yellows on it. So I had 686, so it's really 670, 320, which would be about a $8,000, $7,500 deficit budget for tourism. Does anybody have any questions about the tourism budget?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve the tourism budget fund 128, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Boateng.
So why is it in the deficit?
Stephanie, do you want to answer that first?
Sure. One of the reasons is because we are doing some repairs to the new facility for our lease, and we would take those funds out of fund balance anyway, so our deficit would come out of fund balance, instead of us trying to fund it in our current budget, because we don't know what our expenses are going to be. There are some funds in our building maintenance that we're moving over to contracted services. For example, one of them would be currently our welcome center staff cleans our facility. Now we're gonna have to contract that out. So there's some of those things that were just unknown. And with our fund balance in the condition that it's in, then we felt like it would be okay to take those one-time expenditures out of our, continue to take those out of our fund balance.
Okay. And that, it's not gonna be a reoccurring
No.
thing. You're gonna figure out how to make your hotel,
Yes,
motel tax, all that stuff work to
Yes,
produce
absolutely.
a
That
good
was our-
budget.
yes.
Okay.
And we're always conservative. I mean, our utilities haven't increased in 10 years. We don't know what the utilities are going to be at the new facility. So once we get through, we prepare our budget in January. So that'll at least give us 6 months to see where we are, see what our projected expenses are gonna be in the new facility.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no.
No.
Those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion passes.
Okay. The only other issue on, or topic for discussion for the budget is employee compensation, so. I feel comfortable with a 5% raise. I mean, we could maybe go a little more, but honestly, just, I feel like that gives us some wiggle room for next year too, as far as, you know.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we go with a 5% raise for all employees.
I second.
Commissioner White moves to approve the 5% pay raise increase for county employees outside the sheriff's office.
Outside the sheriff's department.
Seconded by Commissioner Bochamp.
And could we add to that, we have 13 part-time employees that are permanent part-time in the county. That means they work the same hours for the last, I think, what did we describe it as again, the last?
It's fairly active, it has to give us 20 hours a week.
They're active every pay period and more than 20 hours. So
I'll go with that.
Is that okay with you, Commissioner White?
I figured that in already.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
that's fine, but you did do
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
My motion was for all.
Gotcha.
So we're good? Okay. You're good with a second?
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay. EMS situation, if, Nathan, do you want to come up and just explain the difference in option 3 and option 2 one more time? Just so.
I got a question before we get started. Didn't we approve last month option 3
We did.
as the budget?
We did, but I've had
No
two.
increase, but we're gonna deal with the deficit.
Yes, and I've had a couple of commissioners on the budget committee ask me that they were in favor of option, they kind of would like to see option 2, so I just.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
So, presented 3 options. Option 3 was staying as we are today, primarily looking at with the staffing. Option 2 would afford for us to hire 2 more paramedics to operate, take one of our current DLS day trucks and convert that into a paramedic advanced life support day truck. What this would allow is currently the day truck works a certain number of days a week. We would open that up, instead of maybe working 3 days a week for 14 hours, we convert it to where it works 12 hours a day, every day of the week, affording us a little bit more coverage, a little bit more availability, especially with an ALS truck. So it was for 2 personnel and 2 personnel only. No more equipment was needed. We would use our current equipment to cover that. So that was the only difference between option 3 and option 2. It would help some with the availability and response. Obviously not as much as a whole nother truck, which was option 1, but it would help with some of that coverage.
Are you talking about the Claxton area? Possibly?
No, well, all countywide, to be honest with you. I mean, if you have another truck that's in service throughout the week, it would increase availability countywide, really, because even if you've got a call in Clinton and the truck in Clinton's on call, depending where it's at, it could be the truck from Rocky Top responding to that. It could be the truck from Oak Ridge, where this truck would have some availability when we already don't have it. We would house it in Clinton. Really, because that's where the garage is and the capability. And Medic 1 in Clinton is our busiest moving truck. So that would help with that response. So to answer the question, it would help response countywide.
take $546,000 out of the ARP funds. That will pay for 2 new employees for EMS and the truck that they will need to cover whatever area may need to be covered to help with coverage across the county. We were talking about Claxton, but it could be anywhere, right, Nathan?
Right, we don't have a location in Claxton, obviously.
Right.
But again, it was just for the personnel. We're not adding any equipment.
Did a truck have to be renovated?
No,
Or
sir, we would
adjusted or
just use the
anything?
current
Okay.
fleet that we have.
Okay.
So we would not be purchasing more equipment.
So if it was just the 2 employees and the 5% raises, what does that adjust the
We say up
546?
to $600,000 just to be safe.
Up to 6?
Yes.
Okay. Just to cover any overages. So my motion would be to approve 600,000 from the ARP funds for 2 new employees and the 5% pay raises for EMS. Everybody understand? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Commissioner Smallridge, go ahead.
I just want to be sure this doesn't tie us in any way to a station necessarily in Claxton at any point.
No, sir.
Because I think we need a lot more information on the best place, even if we're gonna have another station, for where that needs to be and how that relates to other needs that you have for your department. And I'm just saying, I would not be prepared to support that at this point, a station, another station in Claxton.
Well, I do know that in regards to location, that was addressed in the station study that we had done. There was option 1 and option 2, which identified an area if we were to stick with what that study said, but
Good. Well,
just to
thank you.
clarify.
Commissioner Foster.
And I'm not gonna vote yes for this, because I don't think it handled our long-term solution, any answers. And I think we need to look at what is the long-term solution. And I don't know if that's another committee that we pull from people from operations and budget. Because I think obviously, and I think Commissioner Beauchamp did this last month, trying to just get the raises, get the balanced budget, or it won't be balanced, but getting the budget passed. And then maybe trying to look at long-term solutions to see what that is for EMS, if it's a station, more trucks, whatever that may be, because we've got to figure out something. And so that, I won't support this motion, but, or I'll make an amendment that we go with option, that what was passed last month. And then we look at this long-term, trying to figure out the solution. And I just don't think we can do that at budget or at operations. I think it's going to take a committee with Nathan on there, the mayor on there, multiple people. And I don't know if that needs to be a motion that comes out of regular commission, or if that's a budget, a motion that can come out of budget, that we put a committee together to look at long-term solutions.
I understand what you're saying. I think what we're trying to do is tackle 2 different problems. And if I understand correctly or incorrectly, please correct me. I think last month, we were trying to settle as much as the budget as we possibly could at Budget Committee, with the understanding of there were still some long-term issues that needed to be addressed with EMS. We went ahead and passed what we did last month with the understanding of we would go back and look at other solutions. The motion that we passed last month did not address pay raises for EMS. The 5% vote we just passed a minute ago to increase didn't include EMS, did it?
Yes?
Yes.
The one we passed a minute ago. So would EMS have gotten a 10%, or what my motion would do would just cover the 5% we've already approved?
5%.
Okay, so if we don't pass this, how does that leave their effect with the 5% pay raise?
Well, they can't.
They couldn't have it, okay. So if we vote no on this motion, they don't get the 5% raise nor the 2 additional employees. I understand what you're saying, that they certainly need, I agree that they need the raise a lot along with everybody
Yeah, I
else.
just need some clarification, because I thought we approved
Here's
there.
what I'd like to say. This year, the county had $1.8 million in revenue growth.
Right.
CTAS gave all elected officials and CTAS 5% raises. That includes the judges. Each budget, we added a couple of new positions along the budget path. Each budget had small increases you know, health insurance benefits, that can cause increases. Contracts, I mean, that we have to pay for can cause increases. And we also took care of the sheriff's department request, and that absorbed our 1.8 million. We still have maybe, you know, 200,000 available still for raises. But that's why we said, I know we kicked EMS down the road last year, but if we take care of them this year with this ARP funding, make them the priority in next year's budget. Because honestly, the sheriff's department has been the priority in our budgets the last 2 to 3 years. And I think it's time that we address EMS needs. I mean, we're going to have to, but it was sort of a compromise to get us to that point next year, because I do think we'll have more growth again next year to maybe do something with EMS without, I mean, you know, ultimately we've done all this without a tax increase. So, and we've done a lot. So I think this is a good plan, and I mean, that's how I feel about it as far as.
So did we vote to give the 5% raises already to EMS?
To all employees, Mr.
With that being the deficit, this is to go with option 2 is your motion on the table, to add option 2, which would include new employees.
2 new employees.
2 new employees, and it covers the 5% raise. Is that correct?
It does,
Okay.
completely.
Got a question?
Commissioner Bochamp, I'm sorry.
All right, so you're saying if we don't choose option 2, they're not gonna get a 5% raise?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay, that's the way it made it sound.
We just have to find it from somewhere else.
No, we would just,
We've got to take care of the deficit tonight. They
Right.
can't be in the negative. They're going to get their 5% because we voted for 5%. But last month, we voted for option 3. I can't sit up here and say, I'm going to give you 2 extra employees and you're $650,000 in the hole. I was going to say the same thing tonight. We need to start a committee because this is a reoccurring thing. I haven't been just doing this since September. I've been following this stuff for years. We need a committee with the mayor, Nathan, commissioners. I don't care, people in the public. Let them have an input. We cannot keep going in the hole, and we have to figure out, do we need to bring it back here and start collecting like it used to be years ago? Because clearly, this collection company is fraudulent. We're not getting anything from them. So why wouldn't we bring county employees to get on the phone and say, hey, you owe $5,000. You need to be paying this, Mr. Smith. Because if I don't pay my bills, if I don't pay my credit cards, I'm going to get sent over here to General Sessions Court and I'm going to have to pay it. We're not a charitable organization. We have to collect funds for these things. So I agree with Commissioner Foster. We have got to put a Band-Aid over this and stop going in the hole. Then there's money. Then you can get 2 extra employees because you're not in the hole. That's $650,000 that we could use for a lot of things if we were collecting. So that's my thing. We do need to start a committee. We have committees for everything else, animals, everything else in this county. So we need to have a committee to sit down with the brains of the county and say, hey, how are we going to stop this and how are we going to help EMS? Because right now, it ain't working. So I'm not going to vote for option 2. I'm not going to give 2 employees until we figure out how to make it work and start bringing in revenue to fund. We can get ambulances. We can get EMTs and paramedics. We can get equipment, but we've got to sit down with everybody to come up with the common solution. So no, I'm going to say, just like I did last month, option 3, no extra people. Budget stays as is. Let's deal with this deficit so we can get it back into the good, and they get their 5% increases. Everybody's going to get a raise. But until we sit down and everybody agrees that we're going to come up with a common solution of who's going to run this and say we're not going to be in the hole. There's no way that any of our departments are ever going to be in the negative anymore. We're going to start a committee like we do for everything, and let's figure it out. But this is ridiculous, and I'm not going to vote for an option 2 or 1. I'm going to vote for 3 just like I did last month. Your employees will get their 5%, but I'm not going to vote for extra employees. Not like this.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
No.
Go to the hand vote. All in favor? Raise your hand. 1, 2. So I assume the other one, so motion fails.
So we're going with 3?
Yeah, there would be no change from what we
Do we have to
voted
make
on.
any action item since we passed that last month?
We
Just
already
well,
approved
since
it last month.
We did, but we're 412, we got to figure out how to
Yes,
support a
we need to bring that up.
$50,000 deficit, budget deficit. I mean, do you want to take it from ARP?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we take the
450,000.
is it 450 or 412?
It's 412, 144, but.
You want to make it 450
Yes,
just in
ma'am.
case. 450,000 from the ARP funds to take care of the deficit with EMS.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to remove $450,000 from the ARP funds for the EMS deficit. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
Chairman?
Commissioner Foster?
Oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
Commissioner
I
Davis?
I was just trying to get clarification. So if we take it from the ARP funds, we still would leave their fund balance at 471, 255-ish?
If that is a
Yeah.
possibility.
But
I
I
don't
mean,
think they're
that's-
going to hit that this year.
Okay, so let's just say 400,000, right?
Yeah.
So their fund balance would still be 400,000?
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it appropriate to amend the motion to also include the creation of a
Committee.
committee to, or
They're
should
not.
that be a separate?
Yeah, let's do a separate motion. It's not really related. But we'll do a separate motion. To amend it.
I mean, I understand that we have to balance and it's gotta come from somewhere, but I agree with Commissioner Bochamp. We've got to fix this. We can't be here next year doing the same thing. So we need to create a committee and get this taken care of.
Any further discussion? Mayor Frank?
I can just wait till you
Okay.
finish voting, but it'll be on this global subject.
Okay.
So,
All right. If no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
No. What was the motion?
For the 450 to
Oh,
come in.
yeah, yes. Y'all got me confused. I know. Y'all got me confused. Yes, yes, yes.
For
raise your hand.
clarification, the motion on the floor is by Commissioner Bochamp to remove $450,000 from the ARP funds to address the EMS deficit. That was
No, we got
seconded by
scatterbrained
Commissioner
up here.
Smallridge. Is there any further discussion?
You want a hand vote? I'm raising my hand.
I need one.
I'm raising it this time.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. No. I guess we do need a hand vote, shouldn't we?
See, you should have let me leave
All in
it up.
favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion fails.
So, Mr. Chairman, we can leave it a deficit, and that will be on audit, and whatever happens at the next level is not on the mayor and it's not on Nathan, it will be on county commission. So I find it very interesting that everyone has a real problem with the millions in revenue that EMS brings in, and yet there's a deficit. We're not able to fully fund the operation and the quality service we do just on our revenues alone. And so this committee that we're discussing, how about it be budget committee, and we can address lots of departments that this county funds that bring in revenue. And we'll start with one of my chief critics, Mr. Lynch and EMS. His fees that he brings in for the circuit court, those are fee offices, and fee offices are supposed to fund their operation with their fees. As an example, the trustee's office. The trustee returns to the county excess fees over operational expenses to the tune of $1,085,393. This is the 2022 number. And since Ms. Copeland has been elected, she has increased that number annually. So 2018, she brought in her fees, she had her operational expenses, And in 2018, she turned over $810,000 to the county that we use to fund things in this county. Then that grew to $818,000, then $987,000, then $1,100,000. And so she has grown that. The Register of Deeds, the fees that he's bringing in that are recorded in the budget book, $496,308 in 2022. And his expenses, $371,874. And the Register of Deeds turned over in 2022 for us to do other things with in this county, $124,434. The Circuit Court Clerk, the fees brought in 2022, and I'm going by the budget book, $711,953. The expenditures, $1,190,186, for a cost to the county of $478,000 more than we fund EMS, more than we operationally fund EMS. The Sheriff's Department also brings in fees and revenues. The Sheriff's Department in 2022 brought in fees and revenues of $1,904,665. Their expenditures were $13,203,660, and Anderson County funded the difference to the tune of $11,298,994. And that's money well spent. Thank you, sir. I'm going to bring up UT Ag Extension Office as another example here. They bring in zero revenues to Anderson County. You'll see no revenues recorded in your revenue report that you vote on in your budget. Yet we house them in the Anderson County Courthouse. I love the 4-H Extension Office. I love what they do. I love how they serve our children. They don't serve near the number of people that our Anderson County EMS does when they dial 911. But nevertheless, we fund, I have on here $132,998, but in talking to Robbie today, he told me the most current numbers are $207,000. That does not count the space, the electricity, any cost of being in this building. And so I'm fine with any question on any committee. EMS has done this, we'll do it again, and we're happy to be a part, audit us again, have another committee. But if we're going to talk about the revenue shortfall for EMS, I want to talk about all the other departments too. And there are a lot of things we fund in this county that we don't have to fund. The budget you approve funds juvenile court. It is not a requirement in the state of Tennessee that we fund a juvenile court. That can be shared with Chancery Court. Some of those cases can be with General Sessions Court. There is no requirement that we have a second General Sessions Court. There is no requirement that we have a tourism director, that we have tourism staff, and that we have a tourism department. McMinn County does not have a tourism department. McMinn County does not have a tourism director. McMinn County does not have tourism staff. So EMS provides a valuable service. They bring in millions in revenue. And I would encourage anyone to pick up the phone and call EMS systems across the state of Tennessee and understand that we don't get to charge what we want to charge. The majority of our rates are fixed by the federal government. And I just want folks to understand that. I just feel like EMS is being beat up as if we're being mismanaged. We don't get to set the rate for reimbursement. We also don't get to choose who dials 911. And I don't think, even if we take someone to court, that we're going to get blood out of a turnip for someone that we have resurrected who has overdosed on heroin. And so I'm fine for these discussions, but I hope that they'll include all other departments that we are subsidizing, and that's what that is, a subsidy. And it's time we just peel back the curtain and we show it all for what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next item on the agenda, Robbie.
How are we gonna deal with the deficit?
I'm open for,
I'm just gonna say this, the state's not gonna approve the EMS budget currently at what it is, because they can't fund it. And they're gonna reject our budget, so we're gonna be coming back in July trying to do the same thing. So this committee,
Well, let's fix it today.
Yeah, we
Should
have to fix
fix
the
it.
deficit.
there's no reason not to.
Let's fix it today.
So I guess my question, Chair, is can we use their fund balance to balance that? I'm not saying.
We cannot use the general fund balance to fund
No,
EMS.
the EMS fund balance.
They don't have 450,000. Michael, I know it says they have that, but I was
Yeah.
putting the $280,000 that we gave them ARP funds this year. He just spent part of that tonight, so I should have never really done that. He hasn't gotten near the revenues. In fact, Nathan is real worried about, what kind of a loss this year? $500,000. So that fund balance is not going to be, by the time it's sent to the state, it will have better numbers because we're further in the month of
The
June.
reason I voted against it, I thought he had the money in his fund balance.
He does not.
So I guess I misunderstood that whole concept.
And that was my reasoning also, that I rather,
A lot of those fund
you can
balance-
come back with the ARPA
Right.
funds later to help supplement, but I'd rather use the fund balance that's there, but if it's not there, then it's not there.
We keep fiscal year 22, 23 open till August. We close August the 15th. That's so we still have state collections for 2 more months, and everybody has 2 more months to close out all their invoices and stuff, POs. Right now, if what I'm projecting as a fund balance is what they currently have, that's not going to be nowhere near what they have when it comes to the end of August. It'll be more like 200,000 possibly. So I really should have changed that already, and I haven't, and I apologize for that, but I don't think we can balance their budget with fund balance. As the budget director, I'm telling you that, finance director, we cannot do that. So,
Thanks for the clarification.
Commissioner Yeager, if you could come to the, we have a parliamentarian question.
I was ready to jump up anyway. We can do a reconsider of that exact vote if someone from the winning team, I'll use team, winning side makes that motion. The losing side cannot re-bring that motion up, but the winning side can. So the people who turned it down can bring up a motion to have that motion reconsidered.
So that would be Commissioner White.
That would be the
Commissioner
nose.
Foster,
That would be the nose.
Commissioner Vandergriff.
I guess another clarification. Can you, on a reconsider, can you amend, if you reconsider the motion, can you amend that motion after it's been reconsidered?
You
I
can,
guess
you can bring up a new motion, period, so
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
is that
exactly
cleaner?
the same thing.
is that cleaner to do that?
Wonder if I change the amount?
If you change the amount, in my opinion, which is usually wrong,
I wouldn't say that.
I would say you could do a new motion with a different number, different parameters.
Well, now that we found out that they don't have the fund balance,
Yeah, I mean,
we can go forward.
That's my unprofessional, non-parliamentarian position.
and I will, just to clarify, we're showing that fund balance because right now that's what it looks like. But when all the numbers come in, the revenue, I'm basing that off budget and what's currently in the budget. When that comes in, it's not that will change dramatically. So, that's not really my fault. It's what they have currently, but they're not
It's
collecting the
gonna
revenues.
decrease.
Yes.
and I know it's an estimate, but I'm just looking at it based on the estimate that you gave us that
Right.
I'd rather balance it
I
with fund
understand that.
balance. And if you want to make the motion to take the rest of their fund balance plus ARPA funds Is that something we can do?
If you change it by $1, it's a new motion. It doesn't have to, yeah.
But they don't have anything, right?
I would recommend not considering their fund
Yes,
balance
that's
at all
what I
in
would
this.
say.
And just my recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to take up to $460,000 out of the ARP funds to put toward the EMS deficit.
Motion by Commissioner Bochamp to take up to $460,000 from the ARP funds to address the EMS deficit. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. That is all the budget. Here's the plan for budget. Tomorrow, we will submit the public notice to it's going to be in the Knoxville News Sentinel because we couldn't get it in any of the local papers, and that's considered a paper that's local for Anderson County because I got Jay's opinion and CTAS. It'll be in there Tuesday, which gives us 10 days before the special called meeting, which will hold the public hearing at 6. And right after the public hearing, we'll have the commission meeting to possibly approve the budget.
So the hearing.
Do you have a question?
On the 22nd.
On the 22nd,
Okay.
yes.
So the vote will be on the 22nd after the hearing.
That is true. To try to get it passed before June 30th. If that doesn't work out on the 22nd, then it will go into July. And in the public hearing, citizens have a right to appear. They're supposed to give us in writing 5 days before the meeting, but if somebody shows up, we let them speak, so that's not a problem at all. But that's going forward, what's going to happen as far as the budget goes. Everything has been approved now by this committee, and I will get it all together. There will be no approval for anything in commission meeting on the 17th. Is it the 17th? But on the 22nd is when we will be.
Vote on the budget will be on the 22nd.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on that?
But on the 19th, we'll have regular budget amendments on our regular budget.
Yes, just that. And I'll give an update on what happened in budget committee.
Okay.
But no votes will be. So under section C, Commissioner Wandell also asked that this be brought back to the budget committee. He brought up the senior center kitchen doing I guess the walk-in cooler. And I think Commissioner McCamey thought the cost was a lot less. And what I gave out that night was the cost. And the mayor provided an additional letter based on that. And I'll also, if she would like to speak to that, I would let her. But I was just asked to bring it back to this committee. I'm trying to find my cost. It's $94,530 is the additional cost for walk-in cooler freezer.
Yes, and so there were 3 bidders. I mean, we have to go with the low bid, the lowest overall bid, so we couldn't even cherry pick and go with one. But all 3 of those, the amounts were, one was $94,530, one $93,900, and one $90,674.23. And you know, I did want to, I put in, I don't know if you had time to read the letter that I put in your budget packet, but there was a statement made that there was no refrigeration there, and I do want to clarify, there is refrigeration. In fact, they got a grant for their senior services, and they were able to purchase a 2-door reach-in freezer via that grant and a 3-door reach-in cooler. So they do have refrigeration and freezers. I think the Commissioner McCamey was wanting to just go ahead and do the walk-in.
Can I ask her a question?
The other thing is, you know, and I've told Commissioner McCamey this too, and I told this committee, if we were going to fund something else, I mean, I know they would love that, but I really do believe that the demolishing that little galleyway kitchen and converting that to classrooms and then creating another space for the health educator, which is, we're getting a grant for that particular person, and they provide wellness checks, help them with their medication. We, in fact, one lady trusted our health educator to check her out. She sent her directly on to the ER, and we helped save her life. I mean, I just think that's the better expenditure if we were going to fund something. But that's, at your discretion.
Commissioner Bochamp.
So we don't need the walk-in coolers anymore? Because I started thinking about that last month. It don't make sense to build a kitchen and not have place to put your food.
It would just add extra capacity, so they would be able to have extra donations or things like that. But it is not a requirement, no ma'am.
What was the total amount for all of this that you gave us last month?
Ooh,
Is the 249 the total for all the
We already
additions?
committed 115,628, and then we did additional 135,852. So
it seems like, I don't have it in front of me, it seems like it was, if you approved everything, it would have been 500.
Yeah, it was a package deal.
Yeah. Because there's one is the classroom configuration, one's the activity room configuration, one is the walk-in cooler, then another one would provide exterior improvements, and then also there was an upgrade to the men's restroom to add additional stalls.
And right now, we're allocated for the kitchen, correct?
We're for the base bid,
So
yes.
we're good on that
We're
one.
good on that.
Because what I'm scared we're gonna run into is the senior center needs these things. They need the men's restroom up to date, and with the price of construction, everything keeps going up. And I'm scared that we're gonna get into a situation where the seniors are gonna need the remaining things, and then our costs are gonna be doubled. That's what I'm worried about is gonna happen with us. I mean, typical Anderson County government, that's the way we kinda like to do things. But if we could take this stuff, we have the funds to help our seniors get everything that they need right here, right now. I mean, it's a big price right now. But do we want to pay 1.2 million in 3 years from now? That's the way I'm looking at this.
Construction continues to go up. It's never cheaper to do something than it is now.
That's right.
So 413, 220 would be all the alternate with some quick math that I just did based on what the bid breakdown. And then 249, 980 was the original base bid that we approved. We had to go up from the additional
Yep.
that was originally. And I know there was discussion too last month on, there were some coolers being given or something. Was that grant? Was that what you were talking about on the grant? I heard there was discussion. You guys said hold off because we might be getting those.
There is a group at Y12 that was interested in raising funds for a walk-in cooler. So, yes, that's still out there. If we tell them, we give them some specs, they, I guess, would anticipate going out and raising money for that. So, but they don't have money in hand
I didn't know.
yet. They made an
I heard the
offer to
discussion,
do
but
that.
didn't know.
Yes.
I wanted more detail on that. 'cause
Yep.
I
Another
think I brought
question,
up.
Sharon. So if we approved all of this without the walk-in cooler because we think that one's gonna get donated, that would take off 94,530. So what would be our total, Robbie? I'm scared though that we won't get the walk-in cooler. I mean, it's not a confirmed thing, correct, Mayor?
Correct.
Roughly
Ain't no Santa Claus.
318, 690 is roughly my calculations. 318, 690. If you take the 94, 530 off. Is that what you get, Robbie? Okay. I say my math's not wrong.
Okay, 249,980 plus all these on the first column under Jenkins and Styles.
No, we're looking at the cost of those extra alternates. You've already funded the 249.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And my math only included the alternates, not the base. That's already been approved.
Let me get my calculator out here.
Go ahead. You do some math too.
I ain't trusting you guys.
318,690.
Oh, look at that. I was right.
Oh, gosh.
So you can confirm.
So that's in
318,690
addition to
without the
what we've
walk-in.
already.
What was it, Robbie?
18,690. And if you add the walk-in, that's 94. That's 413,220.
4, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to take the 413,220. Can I alter that a little bit? Like if we get the walk-in cooler, then we don't pay it? Can we do that?
Yeah.
I'd like to include it, but if we're gonna get one, then I don't want us to have to pay for it. But 413,220 from the ARP funds to fund all the alternate projects to the Anderson County Senior Center. Or do we call it the Office on Aging?
It's both.
Okay. Just want the correct term.
We have two grants. We have a senior center grant that funds partially senior center operations, and then Office on Aging grant dollars that come through the state that fund operations for Office on Aging duties.
Okay.
So the motion on the floor by Commissioner Bochamp is to spend
The
up
four
to 413,220
from the ARP
from the ARP funds
to complete these projects.
to complete the projects at the Senior Center Office on Aging. Do we have a second?
Oh, come on.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
So, under section D, it was also referred to the, to budget by Commissioner Wandell. We've discussed this some tonight about adding a station in Claxton. I mean, I kind of think, I'm just gonna let y'all handle this.
I've got mine all mixed up.
So, if I recall correctly, at the last commission meeting, Commissioner Wandell, I think his original motion was to go ahead and set aside the funds to build a new EMS station in Claxton.
He called it to earmark funds.
Yeah.
That motion failed. Then there was a motion to refer that to Budget Committee for discussion. So
Yes.
that's why we have it on the agenda for today.
That is correct.
Okay. So with that in mind, is there any discussion? Commissioner Vandegrift.
So the cost for an additional station in Claxton that we have here in front of us is actually from 2022, correct?
Director Sweet.
Yeah, the original document was from 2022, something I put together. Finance Director Holbrook and I had a discussion back then. I do believe, for the most part, that it holds true. Honestly, we've never requested a proposal for a station. These are all projections for discussion. We haven't pursued it with anything.
I would make a comment also, committee members, that it would be wonderful to have a nice $500,000-600,000 EMS station built down in Claxton, but it would just look nice if there weren't employees to staff it. So I think, and Nathan, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would it be putting the cart before the horse to really come up with a full-scale discussion on building an EMS station in Claxton right now, or are you at a point to where that could be on the table for discussion, or what do you think?
I can't envision myself staffing it with the staff that I have now.
So I think maybe the issues that we discussed earlier in the meeting of fixing whatever problems we feel there may be with EMS first, before we start looking at a good, hard discussion on building a new EMS station in our county, might be appropriate. That's just me, with my hillbilly logic. Any
Unless-
disagreement on that?
No. And, you know, that's my concern. I'm not just saying that EMS has got issues and problems, like it was said before. I'm saying we all need to come together as a group. Maybe we don't need a station here and we need a station there. And those are the things that we all need to come up with, that we get 20 minutes in a meeting that all of us are not up to date on, that we don't know. And I know that we can call you at any time, but most of us have jobs during the day. It's hard to coordinate things like that. If we had a committee to say, hey, Nathan, is it more beneficial to have it in this area or this area. Those are the things in this committee that we can talk about that'd be more beneficial for the county as a whole, of just saying, oh, we're gonna put one in Claxton. Not saying that they don't need one, because it's a busy area, you got Clinton Highway, and then you got Solway and Pellissippi and all that, but that's the things that we need to come together as a group to discuss what is best for the citizens in Anderson County of where we need this ambulance station. Do we need 2? Do we need 3? And we've got to figure out how to fund those things. And I think that committee is going to help us do those things to decide where these stations need to be, what we need to do, how we need to fund them, how we go about this. Because, I mean, just in Oak Ridge alone, we got 45,000 citizens in Oak Ridge. It's a lot of people. I know the houses are closer together, but that's still a lot of people in Oak Ridge that we're servicing with one station.
2.
2? But that's a lot of people. So we got to figure out how we're gonna, is Claxton the best location? I'm sure it is, but I mean, it's busy, but we need to talk about those things.
So is there any need to discuss this anymore at this point? All right. Thank you, Director Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, under Section E, the City of Clinton has made a request for industrial park infrastructure and capital improvements, maintenance needs on North Charles Severs Boulevard, the traffic signal they're putting in the Walmart and Hunter's Trail. If you would like, I mean, I'd kind of like to offer a solution to this. If you'd like for me and the mayor to get together and kind of discuss this and come up with possible funding solutions, bring it back to you maybe in July, I'd be happy to do that. So, because I don't think we're ready yet to make that kind of decision, but
That'd be my suggestion.
Yeah.
okay, we will do that. Okay, Section F, new business. The first thing under new business is Judge Bowling has made a request for, she's got a quote, and for $11,023 for new furniture. It lists all the furniture on here. Back when we first did all the ARP funding, we did set aside $40,000 for capital outlay request. 10,000 of that was already designated for the judges. I mean, we could take it out of that money that's already been approved if that's something you all are interested in. But I'm just offering a funding solution, but that's your call.
Mr. Chairman. How much money's still left in there?
30.
30,000,
Yes.
and they need 11,023.
Yes.
What fund did you say it was?
The ARP funds. We have it. We already have a code set up in 121
Gotcha.
91401
That's
799.
what confused me. You said you already had a code. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
so they're taking
Yeah.
it, I mean, are
We already have it
They
set
already
up.
have it there.
And
They've
I
already
could,
approved
I mean,
it.
I could have probably made that call, but I really would prefer you all make that call.
Mr.
Motion-
Chairman,
yeah, got it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $11,023 out of the ARP funds. That's already been allocated. I want to put that out there.
Yes, for these kind of purposes.
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Bochamp to approve, second by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion?
I guess I'd just ask from a business standpoint, how old is this furniture that she's currently got versus needing new cherry wood furniture?
Well, luckily, I've never been called to that.
Sure.
I can
But I
tell
don't
you,
know, so.
I can tell you, it's very old. It's
Emily,
probably 18. You think it's that old?
No, not in Sessions 1, is it?
I would say it's almost 20 years
We
old,
flipped the courtroom.
in the 90s.
Yeah, Emily, come up here and tell us.
But the chairs are falling apart, I can tell you that.
Judge Layton was a very conservative,
It is
good
very
steward of
old.
her.
Our tables, we have paper towels and paper under them to keep them from wobbling. The hydraulics and the chairs are gone out. They're just, it's old, very old furniture.
It's just old.
It's just old. That's the best way to put it. It's just old.
That answers it for me, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, and then I have a transfer from the Chancery Court. I actually left this one out and found it on my desk after I'd already submitted the budget, so I apologize to Mr. Cousins, but it's $2,500, increasing office supplies from the probate court, duplicating supplies, other supplies and materials and postal charges. They have a small probate court budget, and they're just trying to put it all in office supplies.
Motion approved.
Second.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve, what do you want to call that, Robin?
It's 29A.
29A,
Yes.
seconded by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
And also the Clinton Library, because I got this so late, they're increasing office supplies, $200 from staff development. I didn't get this in time to get it submitted in the budget, but this was a request from, that their board approved from them. And I'm submitting it to the budget committee for approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Bochamp to approve item number
29B.
29B.
Yeah.
Second by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. No. Motion carried.
Just one no?
Just one no.
Is that Commissioner Wandale? I'm sorry, Commissioner Bell.
No worries, having all of us.
Just kidding.
Where's my
And
button?
under old business, I have one item, and I'm not let Randy explain this. It's the TDEC budget, grant budget. We just need approval of this. Is that what I'm asking for?
Yeah, this is a TDEC grant that we applied for, we recently notified that we're getting it. And so this is something we had talked about before previously in the application approval process. So it's the ACWA water projects.
These are additional funds that we're getting other than the ARP funds.
Okay.
These are technically ARP funds, but they're flowing through the state.
Right.
And we already approved the
Yes.
match in, as ARP funds?
Yes.
So we just need to designate it? Or what do you need? Yeah, what kind of motion do you need?
Just to approve, approve this amendment and to take that match.
Okay, but we've already designated that match.
And that'll come in out of the,
It's not new money.
Yeah, we're gonna take that unrestricted.
Okay.
the other eligibilities.
You all have approved for this to be applied for, but not specifically designated a dollar amount
Okay.
to be set aside for the match, and so this would be to approve that dollar amount set aside specifically from ARP money, to meet that match.
And that matches 379,514.92 for a total project of 4,174,664.14.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Foster to approve, second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, that's all I have, and I appreciate it. We got a lot done there in
That's good.
an hour and a
Any
half.
further business come before the committee?
So, just real quick on
Commissioner
the
Foster.
committee we talked about, does that need to wait until commission to come?
Oh,
Because I think there's people from operations that would need.
I say,
So just-
doesn't it have to go in front of operations? I think the last time we wanted to form a committee, we found out that that goes in front of operations. Is that right? Does that sound right? Anybody, Mayor? Yeah, where'd Phil go? Yeah,
I'll just wait till we wait to commission in our operations.
okay.
Typically that does. We try to form a fire.
Yeah, that's why I say, I don't wanna make that motion if it's not something. Okay.
No
we'll
further
have to wait.
business?
We have to wait until the
think
next
we want
month,
to
because there are,
Commission, commission, isn't it?
no, he said operations.
They can make it.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Any further business? We are adjourned.
Great meeting.
You're lacking for entertainment.